Howdy, my name is Eli and I work in the warranty department here at GFC. I want to talk real quick today about how to remove and reinstall the panels on your V1 camper. We just released our V2 version of the camper, and I know a lot of folks are really excited about the ability to remove and reinstall the V2 panels in just a few minutes. But what a lot of people don't know is that you can actually do the exact same thing on the V1 camper if you have our Embassy hinge. One thing to note before you do this is that you do it at your own risk. So if something gets messed up, it's not covered by the warranty. So coming around to the driver's side of the camper, we're going to talk about the three different portions of the Embassy hinge that you're going to be working with. So the first part is the panel side of the Embassy hinge. This is what attaches to your panel. And then you have the extrusion side of your hinge. This fits into the T-track of your tent extrusion. The last piece is the hinge cover, which protects the gears of the Embassy hinge from dirt, grime, water, etc. So first thing you're going to want to do is pop your panel open. Next, what you need to do is disassemble or remove your struts. And so you're going to start by removing the strut clips. These are just the little clips that you can see right down here near the strut ball. And those just, if you pull on them, they just pop out like that. Pull it out. That's what you're left with. Don't lose these, but it's not a big deal. If you need more, you can order them directly from us. You're going to do that on both of the bottom mounts of the strut on each side. Next, to remove the strut from your frame, you're going to grab it and then just give it a sharp jerk like that. It'll come loose pretty easily. You don't need a ton of force, just a sharp motion tends to help. So lay that down gently since your struts are going to be contacting your frame. Next, what you're going to need is a T20 torque screwdriver or drill bit. We're going to use this to remove this bolt holding the hinge end cap on. This is what keeps the entire hinge assembly together. And again, make sure not to lose this. So next, you're going to want to pull your panel up a little bit away from the frame so that you're not dragging it across the frame. And a quick note about this, you might want a second person to help you with the other side of the frame, but depending on the length of your truck bed, it might be doable with one person. Grab your panel and just slowly pull it out from the hinge. It should come pretty smoothly, but if it feels like it's stuck or difficult to remove, you might want to just look into your hinge and make sure that there's nothing weird going on before you try to pull it out. So now that we have our panel removed, we're going to stash it somewhere safe. And then next we want to remove the hinge cover because it's no longer secured to the hinge and it can just slide around, and we don't want to drive around with it like that. So this should just pull straight off. Like so. Again, you can store this with your panel. And now you're ready to go. You can repeat this process with all three sides. When doing this, you want to consider one thing, which is if you remove the side panels, you need to remove the rear panel. Because if you remove the side panels but leave the rear panel, it acts as a wind catch as you drive, especially if you're going at high speeds. So one option would be to remove all three panels, or the other option would be to remove just the rear panel and leave the side panels. This section option is especially useful if you want to throw mountain bikes over your tailgate or throw lumber sticking out of your bed, things like that. All right, now to reassemble your camper, you're going to just reverse the process, but making sure to also lock tight the sit nut cap or sit nut cap bolt on the end of the hinge. So to kind of demonstrate this whole process, first start with your hinge cover, sliding it on from the front of your camper. I like to leave a little gap of exposed gearing. That way I can align my gears a little bit better before sliding the hinge cover on the rest of the way. So what we want to do to reinstall our panel is to find the first tooth on the geared hinge, right there where my fingernail is. And we're going to align that in between the first and second teeth on the extrusion side of the geared hinge. So if you look at this cross section of the geared hinge, you can see that the first tooth on the panel side of the hinge is in between the first two teeth on the extrusion side of the hinge. All right, so what we're going to do next, in order to cap our embassy hinge and make sure it can't slide off, is to dab a little bit of blue Loctite onto the end cap bolt. Little dab of Loctite on the end there. Then I can go ahead and thread that back in. Make sure that when you reinstall it, you snug it so it feels nice and tight, but don't torque it too much, or else you're going to strip the threads inside of the end cap since it's aluminum. And then last step is going to be to reinstall our struts. So all that entails is taking the end of your strut and clipping it back onto the strut ball on your frame. We can then take our two strut clips, which are very easy to lose, and just poke those right down through the holes on the ends of the struts. Now your panel is reinstalled and you're ready to go. If you guys have any other questions about the hinges or anything else, just shoot us an email at support@gfcengineering.com.